Welcome to Eugene Cannabis TV. We're here with a special guest. We have Kathy Ging came by and see us again, and your host here is Dank. We're going to be talking about Hemp History Week and some hemp events coming up, including the Emerald Empire Hemp Fest. So welcome, Kathy. Appreciate you coming back.
Thanks a lot, Dan.
You bet. We had a great, in fact, let's jump in and go ahead and talk about the Tsunami Books event. That was great.
Oh, great.
A little recap on that. And we
Good
talked
point.
about that coming up. Well, now we can talk about it because it's past and we were there. So.
Yeah, well, we were promoting this in many ways. We went to the University of Oregon, passed out flyers, even at the Charles Lundworth School of Business, because we felt that the students need to be educated about the new entrepreneur skills that could be acquired by doing industrial hemp, not only for foods, but for textiles and building and oil, plastics, fuel for gasification. There's a whole plethora of industries waiting for industrial hemp. So we had this meeting at Tsunami Books, and it was last month, and we had almost 70 people show up. It was a beautiful night, and some of the people that came had owned hundreds of acres of land, and some of them were people who had known Jack Herer for 30 years. And of course, Jack Herer is the author of the book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes, that many people like Steve Allen from Ireland, A-L-L-I-N, he gives a lot of credit to Jack Herer for the industrial hemp knowledge that a lot of us gained over the years. And jackherer.com is where you can get the book free now, jackherer.com to read the book. Well, at any rate, so one of the guys there wants to build a house now in honor of Jack Herer called the house that Jack built. And so another person there was an artist who had done a lot of different drawings, and then there was Eileen Erdelt, who helped start Cannabis TV years ago. So there was a lot of people, about 5 real estate agents there, including myself, and people from escrow companies and lenders. There's just a wide amount of business people starting to get involved in this. So what we decided to do is we had a little follow-up meeting last week, and about 7 of us put together an agenda for the next organizing meeting for Hemping Up Oregon, and that's going to be actually Thursday after this Thursday at June 12th at Tsunami Books again from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. and it's free, although we encourage you to buy books, or something like that, just because he does this for us for nothing. But at any rate, this will be 3 or 4 discussion groups that we will be breaking up into topics. One of them will be how to network the farms, the researchers from OSU Corvallis and Lane Community College and Benton College, all these junior colleges, with the farmers to grow hemp potentially in 2015. Another group wants to focus on hemp education tools. How can we educate the public that hemp is non-psychoactive and it has $1 trillion potential for helping to deal with climate change and reforestation issues, etc. And the third group that probably will be talking is the CBD oil, which is now legal in all 50 states and is helping to cure different kinds of, I don't have to say cancer, but other things like that. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a background of what's going to be happening. So we invite everybody to come Thursday after this Thursday to Tsunami Books in Eugene, 2585 Willamette Street, 6:30 to 8:30, and bring your ideas.
That's right. That's a great group that we were there last time and saw the film. You have a chance to see that film, Bringing It Home, Hemp is Hope. By all means, see it. It's very inspiring.
Really was. Mm.
Yeah, it's very educational.
By the way, they're going to show that near the country fair. Someone told me to thousands of people in the summer. So we're really
at
making
the fair. Or you say
well,
near the
somebody
fair?
Right near the fair or whatever
Okay.
said they were going to be showing it to thousands of people.
Maybe they might, okay, I thought maybe they might be showing it like Community Village or something. Right?
Well, I'm not really the person in charge of that, so I don't know. But that's what a woman told me.
That's great. Yeah, well, that's good. You got to get the word out. So that's incredible. Yeah, that's and then we have the event coming up next week, which we'll be talking more about too. But Celebrate Hemp, that's right here in Eugene. We want to celebrate the Hemp History Week ourselves. We contacted the organization and they declined sponsoring an event. So we decided, we'll do our own event. So we'll just do our own little thing called Celebrate Hemp. And we just want to promote hemp, and as like Kathy's talking about, it's a miracle plant. It's just amazing. I keep more, car part, body parts. It's just amazing how much stuff you can make out of hemp.
You can grow your own tractor parts. They're already doing that on a YouTube from Canada. Yeah.
Oh that's incredible. And then now, and this Bringing It Home, Hemp is Hope. Well, what I was talking about is a guy was looking for building materials that his daughter could exist around. She had a lot of medical problems and couldn't be around most of the manufactured building supplies and so materials, and so he had to find something that would work for her, and that's where he came upon hemp. It wasn't like he was looking for a use for hemp; he was looking for a solution to his problem.
The girl had autism too, by the way.
Oh yeah.
And he had helped mitigate the symptoms of her autism by reducing the toxins in the house environment. But it wasn't enough for him. He wanted to build a house of the best materials in the world, and that's where he found industrial hemp.
Yeah, that's yeah. So, like I said, if you get a chance to see that film, by all means, do so. And when it'll be will it be shown locally here again? You know?
Well, I haven't made a plan just yet. I have to pay a certain amount of money every time I do it, which I'm willing to do that if we have a group of people. Right. Yeah.
Well, maybe at the next meeting we'll see, and so I'll keep your ears open on that one. But so Celebrate Hemp will be June 7th. That's Saturday between 11 and 2 at the at the Wayne Morris Free Speech Plaza, 8th and Oak, across from Saturday Market. We'll have speakers and they'll have the open mic. We'll have literature, information on hemp, some sample products, and
we have some of this Nativa stuff, the hemp protein, and some hemp nuts, and some Dr. Blonder's hemp soap, and all these kind of good things that donated to us.
Exactly, and we've got some stuff that pulled stuff together and show the public and samples, and so come on down and educate yourself, I guess as we would say.
Definitely, and I just want to point out that 31 nations have already legalized industrial hemp, and the U.S. had taken a back roll. We're like a 77-year hold period from hemp. So right now we're behind Canada that started growing hemp again 1992, 93, 94, and China, India, Russia, Romania. A lot of these countries never stopped growing hemp, France. So we have a lot of catching up to do, and I want to point that a major issue to consider if you're going to grow hemp or tell your farmer friends to start growing hemp is you have to do it initially through a registered pilot project. You can't just go out and get some feral seeds from Minnesota or Arkansas or Missouri and start planting them. You have to work with a pilot project initially, and that's through the community colleges or the universities like OSU Corvallis or the Department of Agriculture. And the other thing I want to point out is that there's 3 major strains of hemp. One's for the food, that's what they concentrate on in Canada. The hemp oil, which is the healthy omega-3, omega-6 oils. Then there's the clothes and linens and textiles from China as their focus, and Europe is focusing on the building materials.
Wow, yeah, that's incredible, and we could just grow it here. Just think of the shortcuts we could make. You have to import it all. And Kentucky just went through a problem we heard about in the news, but about the
hemp
seeds, and so the government seized them, and finally, after several days of wrangling, the government let loose of them.
250-pound crate of seeds had come in from Europe, and the Department of Agriculture sued our U.S. Customs to get them released, so they got put in the ground in Kentucky.
Yeah, so at least they're finally, despite the government, we're on our way. So. Yeah, I'm jumping real quick to the story. Talking about Hemp History Week. This was in the Mountain Express, written by Jesse Farthing. It says, Hemp History Week seeks to alter your perceptions. Take a moment and think about the word hemp. What's the first thing that comes to mind? If it was marijuana plants, hippies wearing hemp cord chokers and bracelets, or other stoner stereotypes, you wouldn't be alone. The organizers and participants in Hemp History Week, which will be celebrated in Asheville, North Carolina, as well as many locations, aim to change those common misconceptions with a national campaign to educate the public and government on the beneficial aspects of industrial hemp crops. The plants have been grown and cultivated in the United States since the early 1600s, according to Hemp History Week website, and George Washington, John Adams, and Thomas Jefferson all grew hemp crops and advocated for commercial production. Banned in the United States under the Controlled Substances Act, hemp has been lumped in with other drugs despite having no drug value. Though hemp and street marijuana come from the same plant, the substances used for industrial hemp contains very little of the psychoactive substance THC. Local resident Timmy Sadler has worked to organize Hemp History Week in Asheville, North Carolina for the past 3 years. This year is the first time it has been made official by a local government proclamation. During the regular May 27th meeting of City Council, Asheville Mayor Esther Mannheimer proclaimed June 7th to the 8th as Hemp History Week. During the week, Sadler hopes to educate about industrial hemp crops. I look forward to this every year, he said. I make sure I'm in a place where I can give 100% to it because I know how important it is to our future. Hemp can be used for textiles, biodegradable plastics, food, detergents, and a single acre of hemp can be used to produce 4 times the amount of paper that can be produced with an acre of trees. I identified industrial-grade hemp as the single greatest thing we can do toward a sustainable future, Sadler said. Hemp even brought the veteran to Asheville in its own way. The metro area is home to the nation's first house built primarily of hempcrete, a lightweight insulating building material crafted from mixing the hemp plant with lime. The house, owned by former Mayor Russ Martin, includes some green features, such as walls and doors made using recycled paper. Sadler came from Pennsylvania for 2 weeks to help get the house built and immediately fell in love with the area. I was blown away by how amazing this community is, he said, specifically the people and the ability to have an intelligent conversation wherever you go. It was alien to me. Sadler said he went back to Pennsylvania, packed up what he had, quit his job, and moved here in the dead cold of winter with no friends and no regrets. In his 3rd year of one-man organizing, Sadler feels as if for 2014 he has taken it to the next level. 11 local businesses are participating in Hemp History Week, including Green Life Grocery, Rosetta's Kitchen, Alembic Studio, and the Green Sage. All the participating businesses will be highlighting products that make or sell that utilize hemp, including a hemp ale at Wedge Brewing and a vegan ice cream made with hemp milk at the Hop Ice Cream Cafe. Members of the public can win $10 gift cards to French Broad Food Co-op or West Village Market by participating in a business card scavenger hunt. By collecting cards from each businesses and taking a single photo, including all of the cards, and emailing it to Timothy A. Well, anyway, winners can get one of the, they get prizes. So, in addition to Hemp History Week, Asheville Community Theater will hold a special screening of Bringing It Home. Just say Bringing It Home, but it's Bringing It Home, and anyway.
Bringing It Home, Hemp is Hope.
Hemp is Hope.
BringingItHomeMovie.com is the website.
Yeah.
If you want to do a lot of research on the hemp
Exactly.
there.
Thank you. The documentary film about industrial hemp usage was created by North Carolina filmmakers Linda Booker and Blair Johnson. So anyway, we got to wrap this up, and we'll see you in the next segment. So we'll be right back.
Hemp for victory.
I'm a doctor.
I'm a lawyer.
I'm a journalist.
I'm a student.
I'm a teacher.
I'm a representative.
I have cancer.
The outdated laws of prohibition are more dangerous than the plant itself.
I lost my scholarship.
I was fired.
20 million arrests since 1965. This is getting ridiculous.
Our prisons are overcrowded with non-violent offenders.
We have the opportunity to change.
This is costing our country billions of dollars.
Making my family and I fight in a courtroom is difficult enough when I'm already fighting through chemotherapy.
There's no reason to be scared by tradition anymore.
We can stop this.
We can stop this.
We are the American people,
We can stop this.
and you have our support.
We're old,
Young.
straight.
Gay.
We're every race and nationality.
And we're not going to give up.
You can tax it.
You can regulate it.
Apply age restrictions.
You can create millions of new jobs.
We can save our economy.
President Obama?
It's time for legalization.
Legalization.
Yes.
We.
Can.
This has been a public service announcement.
Welcome back. You're in the second half of the Eugene Cannabis TV show. We've got your host, Dank, and a special guest today, Kathy Ging, is back with us talking about hemp. And we have the Hemp History Week coming up. Actually started today. So happy Hemp History Week, Kathy.
Hemp for victory, hemp for rope, hemp for hope,
There you
hemp
go.
for soap, but
Right.
not for dope.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. So anyway, we are talking about hemp, and Oregon has quite a history. And in this segment, Kathy's going to tell you a little bit about this book here called The Great Book of Hemp. And Oregon has got quite a bit of the history in the hemp movement.
Yeah, well,
so.
you know, one thing I want to mention first of all is I just got off the phone today for the first time talking to Andrea Herman in Manitoba, Canada, and she's the lead instructor on the first in the world international online industrial hemp class. Anybody can take it around the world. This particular class that I'm taking right now is there's 60 people in it, and I've made some great friends with various people. Some of them are half my age, and I really enjoy communicating with them about our love for the future of hemp. So, but she was talking about hemp being used up in Canada. In Manitoba, they're doing research on the SIPS panels. SIPS panels are structural integrated panels. In the World War, they used to be known as R control panel or stress skin panels, and that's where they could have 2 layers of fiberboard. In between was like either petroleum product fiber, like styrofoam, or you could even put the hemp insulation, which they're now turning into fiberglass bat type insulation into the hemp as between the sandwiches of the structural integrated panels. Because one question I have is whether we can use hempcrete as a building material here, considering there may be some earthquakes in the future. And we know that hempcrete is termite proof, rodent proof, it's fireproof, waterproof. You don't have to paint it. You can use it on the inside and the outside of your house as plaster walls or drywall substitute, and it's stucco in the outside. But I'm not really clear myself because nobody's informed me yet about whether the hempcrete is, you know, is earthquake proof. So the structural integrated panels could be a real way to go. But I want to encourage anybody, you know, to take this class. It starts again in the fall. It's called number 266 through the Wood Product and Forestry Division of OSU Corvallis. If you just Google or put in your search engine OSU Corvallis Industrial Hemp class, you will go right to it. If you're age 65 or older, by the way, there's 900 classes you can take free. It's called the E-Campus or Extended Campus. And you just have a one-time registration fee of $25, and then you get the instructor's permission. And so we can really start a tour de force around locally of people in Oregon and other places taking this class. So a couple things that I've been interested in, you know, for years has been energy. And energy from hemp can be a huge potential eventually. There's a hemp biodiesel, hemp alcohol fuels. They're all on the horizon. And so this huge potential waits, and it's already being tapped by a company in Kentucky starting to plan because they already have 8 research projects going. We have nothing in the ground in Oregon this year yet, although we're one of the 12 states that have legalized industrial hemp, and I believe now there's 16 states that are allowed through the Farm Bill. It's called Amendment 7606 from the 2014 Farm Bill, allows industrial hemp to be grown in pilot projects only with registered projects, like I say, through the junior colleges or universities or departments of agriculture. But this company in Kentucky, Patriot Bioenergy, they're already networking a couple of states to bring jobs to rural areas. And this can be sized for the area of people you need to serve. And ideally, a hemp biomass plant would be located within 100 miles of hemp farms, which is pretty much what they're already doing with biomass facilities with young trees and fuel waste. Well, replicating hemp and other agriculture waste biomass facilities throughout America can help release us from an over-dependence on fossil fuels. And Dan, you know, even if we had enough fossil fuels, like I said, there's this endless amount of oil in the ground, we can't afford the burning of that and what it's causing for the health issues. Oh, yeah. Look at China. You know,
and it's definitely a limited quantity of it. There's not more being produced. I mean, it's what's there is there.
Well, some people believe there's an endless amount of oil in the ground. I'm not really one of those people. But, you know, it was David Sieber, an old friend of mine, I've known him for 40 years, who with Condi, you know, had started CNS Specialty Building Supply, which went out of business some years ago. But there's a little part about them in this book. And this book was written in 1995, but I'm learning a lot about it, The Great Book of Hemp. And then they mentioned Todd Delato had a little hemp crunchy granola type business called
Yeah,
Hungry
Seedy-
Bear.
Sweetie Seedies,
Hungry Bear, yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And then Carolyn Moran was prominently featured in here. She was the tree-free eco paper company. And then now the Mary Hempsters, I know they're in business now here, and they're doing the lip salves and all that. I don't think they were in existence yet. But the point is, a lot of small hemp businesses did start about 22 years ago, and it's real important for us to get this knowledge out there. So, back to this thing about hemp energy, I want to read a couple passages here. It says, hemp grows well in many climates, including most of the United States, and it requires the least input of fertilizers, insecticides, herbicides, and attention. This makes it ideal for both the small family farm and the huge agro businesses. And so it says, hemp is not the only non-tree source of fiber, but it is the best. So now there's hemp can produce jute for like rope, and we saw that with the Second World War. That's why the Hemp for Victory is when the farmers were asked to produce. In fact, there was a time in this country when it was illegal to not grow hemp. Everybody was pretty much required to grow hemp, But harvesting the hemp plants does not require mining, strip mining, or drilling, and so will not cause oil spills. So the biomass production is better for the environment. And these annual farm crops are sustainable fuel sources. They are renewed or replenished by a new crop each year rather than being steadily drained or depleted, as are our fossil fuels. Now, they mention a couple of negative sides of hemp or biofuels in general. One would be the annual crops are harvested seasonally rather than year-round, and that biomass is relatively bulky, so it requires compaction, and it adds to the storage and shipping. And considering considerable capital would need to be invested in the development of pyrolysis and incineration facilities. Plants also require additional processing to be concentrated to the condition of fossil fuels. But all in all, they conclude that the benefits of biofuel greatly outweigh its disadvantages. And so biomass is not just an option. It is, he says, going to be the future. He says the main reason that fossil fuels seem to have a price advantage is that the cost of repairing the environmental damage is ignored. Well, in the utility business, we call that, externalities. That if you say that solar energy is too expensive or wind power, the problem is all these accelerated depreciation of the capital building of energy plants was, they all got these tax write-offs over the years, so that's what made them, have those plants that can sell us the cheap fuel now. So basically, we know that the technical infrastructure is not yet ready for mass production, but this book was, written 20 years ago, and now there's a place in Canada, I believe in Alberta, where they're doing a small energy biomass, and also Austria is working on the biomass energy. So a couple other things I learned is there are two major sources of biofuel to be derived from hemp, the seed oil and the stalk. And so it's also easily converted into diesel fuel. And since the oil is not intended for human consumption, the rancid oil can also be used. So the chemical extraction processes can increase the overall oil yield to 40% of the seed volume. Now, this fuel oil has been used in lamps. Remember the whale oil back in the early part of our country, and that got used up? You can also use it for cooking and heating. And an average hemp seed harvest is 20 to 30 bushels per acre. Now, then they say that we could have about 880 to 1,300 pounds per acre of the bushels, but he says this is conservative, and some feral hemp, just wild hemp in Illinois, actually produced 8 times that amount, 4 tons per acre. And that was the one. So we can go to some of these other states maybe and find these hemp.
That feral hemp is probably from the World War II farmers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Still growing wild.
Well, the U.S. government, a seed bank in Indiana, they had it was either 50 or 150 strains of hemp left over from Washington and Jefferson when they grew hemp.
Wow.
And they let them go to dust just a few years ago. But it's interesting that this pyrolysis project, it was pioneered by the ancient Egyptians. Pyrolysis can produce charcoal, non-condensable gases, acetic acid, acetone, methanol, and condensable organic liquids known as pyrolytic fuel oil. So you can also take the starches of the hemp plant and produce alcohol fuels. I'm sure some of you have heard of the book by David Bloom called Alcohol Can Be a Gas. You ever seen that book?
No.
Well, it's a $40 paperback, and I think he put about $250,000 into producing that book. He was very well known in the Mother Earth news circles 30, 35, 40 years ago, and he's still around. But Alcohol Can Be a Fuel. .com is the name of the website, by the way. But I would like to get him together with some of these people doing the energy crops. So another thing they said is that this cooperative development of small to mid-sized regional biomass conversion units to which the growers bring raw or partially processed hemp for conversion in exchange for a steady supply of fuel. So you bring the raw materials and you come away with the fuel.
Yeah.
Now, David Bloom said that he thought that a person could be self-sufficient on their farm with alcohol fuel if they had like 100 acres. Well, there's still a lot of those farms around here. But it says, growing hemp as an energy crop as a viable long-term fuel alternative for the U.S., which consumes about 60% of the planet's annual energy production. But he says it won't happen overnight. However, if we don't get on the stick and influence our legislators and the colleges and the universities to start doing the pilot projects, we're not going to be able to develop the strains that are suitable for our latitude. And just to be clear, because I went to a fundraiser for a local legislator at the Hilton recently, and the waitress said to me, you know, what's the difference between marijuana and hemp? And I said, well, you'd have to smoke 1,200 pounds of hemp to get the marijuana THC of one marijuana cigarette. So they're totally different strains of the plant. And anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the energy crops.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. But now I'm bummed. we lost all the Jefferson and lost all those seats. Oh man.
Washington and Jefferson and all those presidents.
Work. Oh my gosh, and the information that was available there, gone. Wow, that's really bad. Well, anyway, we got to wrap up. We're coming into the show, so thank you for coming, Kathy.
And remember, Hemp Bound and Tsunami Books on the June 12th, next Thursday after this Thursday, Tsunami Books, 2585 Willamette, 6:30 to 8:30. Let's start organizing Hemp for Victory.
You bet.